Are you avoiding the CEO role because being the doer feels safer or more familiar? Have you been out of the CEO role because you didn't even know what that job entailed? And listening to this makes you go, oh, that's why things aren't moving. No one is doing this job. See, you're the founder of the company automatically if you started it. This is your baby. No one can ever take from you that it is your baby. No one can ever take from you that you are the person who thought of this, who created it, who started it. You founded this company. That title is yours, whether you're the CEO of the company or not. Hello and welcome to the inner game of entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Sarah, and I'm so excited to be here with y'all today. We are back on our regularly scheduled episode release drop. We got a little free flowing there for a second with the last equinox and Aries season reading. We came out on a Friday instead of a Monday. So I'm happy to be back with you on a Monday. And in true Monday fashion, we're going to talk business. Are you ready to talk business? What I want to talk about today is the difference between founder and CEO. And I think this is so important, especially if you are a solopreneur. Almost everyone that I work with started their business because there's a thing we do or a thing we make that we're really good at. You are an excellent coach or therapist or healer or tarot reader, or you make oils. There's something you do that you are really good at, and you decided to go off on your own and make a business around the thing you create that you're really good at. And there is a big shift from being the practitioner, the doer, to being the CEO of a company. And this is something we talk about here all the time. And I've made an episode before about whether you are the CEO of your company or the chief employee of your company. But more important than that is really understanding the difference between founder and CEO. See, you're the founder of the company automatically if you started it, right? It's an ascribed status, right? Like this is your baby. No one can ever take from you that it is your baby. No one can ever take from you that you are the person who thought of this, who created it, who started it. You founded this company. That title is yours, whether you're the CEO of the company or not. In sociology, they call things ascribed versus achieved, right? So an ascribed status is something you have no control over. It is your race, your hair color, your eye color. It just is. You're born with it. You did nothing for it. In a monarchy, status is ascribed. You're born a prince, you will become a king, right? You didn't do anything for that. You didn't earn it. It was just by virtue of where you got dropped when you were born. An achieved status is something you earned. It is something you worked for. You worked for your college degree. You weren't just given that. You had to go to school. You had to do the work. You had to earn it to become a college graduate. Now, there are ways that you had to work for founder. You did have to file business paperwork and start a business bank account and start your business Instagram and start to sell things, right? You did some business things, but you were a founder the day you named the company and said, this is what I am. There is a difference between the status of founder that is yours automatically because you started it, and holding the job title and job description of CEO because you're doing that job. And so many entrepreneurs that I work with have never really sat down and considered that CEO is a specific job title. That when we think of CEOs of large corporations, CEOs who did not start the company they are CEO of, they were hired by a board to have that role. What is the job description of CEO? And most of the entrepreneurs I work with were never CEO of a company. They were never C-suite or even management of a company, before they started their own company. So they don't even really have a conception of what's happening at that level. If, for instance, you're a Pilates instructor and you taught Pilates at a chain Pilates studio, you might have never met the CEO of the chain of Pilates studios you work for. You are a Core Power Yoga teacher. You may have never met the CEO of Core Power Yoga. You may have never sat in a room with them. You're not privy to the highest level management decisions. You're a personal trainer at Equinox. Have you ever met the CEO of Equinox or the CFO or the CTO or the COO? Do you know any of those people? Do you have any idea what their real jobs are? Do you have any idea of what their day-to-day is like? For most of us who have only worked at the employee level or the specialist level, the contractor level, where we just come in and we deliver the thing we're really good at, right? You spent years learning to teach the thing you teach. You got certified in it. You get a job at one of these studios. You just come in and teach your class. You know everything about teaching classes. That CEO doesn't know nothing, probably, about teaching a great group fitness class or about Pilates, but they know stuff you don't know. You know stuff they don't know, right? I want to talk a little bit about the job description of CEO and what a CEO is really supposed to be doing for a company. And I want us to be thinking a little bit about whether or not we're really occupying that job title. Like, would you hire you to be the CEO of this company that you're trying to build? So, when a board sits down to hire a CEO or even to replace a CEO, for example, Peloton, the founder of Peloton was the CEO of Peloton for a while, a good long while. And then the company started losing money. And the board was like, we are replacing you as CEO. You're tanking this business. We know you started it. We cannot take the title of founder from you. You will always be the founder of Peloton. You're no longer going to be the CEO of Peloton. And sometimes that's because the CEO is too close to the product. They're too close to the way that things used to be. There's a change in the market that CEO can't see. There is some reason that the founder has become too close to it to be able to effectively lead the company into the next era. And the board is like, you're out. So if we're going to sit down and hire or replace a CEO as a board, then we are looking for a person who's going to do a very specific job. And that job at its core is first of all, create a vision for the future of this company or adopt the vision for the future of this company and turn it into a functioning business that is making money, that is increasing revenue quarter over quarter. So everything else is flowing from that central job description. We need someone coming in, especially if they're replacing, and turn this ship around. We had the biggest losses of our history last year. We need somebody to come in and turn all of this around. We need someone who's going to change our public image. We need someone who's going to right the ship. So the first thing that they're hiring for is someone who can make the company money. Straight up, who's going to make this company money? Not just manage the money that's coming in, but they are looking at why is the revenue stuck? What does the market want? Why our current growth engine isn't working, and how are we going to fix it? When a board is bringing in an external CEO, it's because they've usually hit some kind of ceiling and nobody inside the company can see it clearly enough to break through. So they're looking for someone with a new vision, a new perspective, who can diagnose the problem and make the hard calls that are required to solve it, which may mean we're changing the direction of things. We're letting certain people go. We're changing an initiative. We're doing a whole rebrand. We're going to do something that is a radical departure from what we've been doing, or we're going to make some big tweaks. We're going to lean something out. We're going to retire a product line. You need someone sometimes from outside with clear eyes who can see, here's the change we're going to make to fix this and to get the company back to profitability. The CEO is also then responsible for resource allocation. How are we spending money? What should we be investing in to get to our goals? Are we spending the right way on the right things? The CEO is hired to own the goals of the whole company and be the person who's accountable and responsible for whether those goals are reached or not. So I want you to think, if you were hired as the CEO for your company, whose number one job is to figure out why is the company not making money the way that we want it to? Why are we not hitting our revenue goals? How much time are you spending in that job, figuring out that number one most crucial problem? The next thing is the strategy. The CEO is brought in for strategy. And what strategy really is choosing. It is deciding what the company is and what it isn't. It's deciding what the company is going to do and what the company is going to say no to, and then protecting that direction from the thousands of things that might try to pull it apart every single week, right? Other people might come in and be like, I think we should take the company this way. I have this great idea for a new initiative. I think we should be doing this. I think we should be doing that. Shareholders want this. Here's the trend right now. The CEO's job is to be like, no, we're sticking to this strategy, this plan. The CEO is there to keep the whole company on track and not let anyone get distracted from how we're planning to hit our goals. That's the CEO's main function, is to keep the ship moving in a specific direction. The word decide means to cut. The Latin root means to cut off every possibility, right? The CEO is holding the whole company's boundaries. We are doing this right now. We are not getting distracted. We're not doing 15 different initiatives. We're doing one. We're not doing 20 different plans. We're doing this one plan. And even if it's unpopular and there's certain departments in the company that don't like it, this is what we're doing because this is what I believe as the CEO is going to get us to our goals. And when we are reporting record wins again, when the revenue is flowing and everything is working, you will see why I was so adamant that we had to adhere to this strategy. And then maybe I'll be open to new ideas. But for right now, we're sticking to the plan. That's the CEO's job, to steer the whole ship in one direction. As the CEO of your company, are you holding the strategy? Do you have a strategy or do you just have a full calendar? Are you just doing stuff? Are you changing your plans, changing your direction constantly? Or are you the one who's steering you toward your goals and staying focused on what you decided to do, even when there's 1,000 distractions coming in trying to pull your focus all the time? So next, there's the people piece. The CEO is responsible for building the leadership team, for building that C-suite, putting the right people in the right seats, and being willing to make the uncomfortable call when someone is no longer the right fit. The CEO is not the person doing all of the jobs. They're not the doer. They're not running all the functions. It's their job to put together the dream team that can get the company to the goals. So if you as the CEO are like, the thing that we need is a major rebrand and a marketing overhaul, we need to completely change our messaging, and my job is to allocate resources and put the right people in place. If I know as a solopreneur, messaging, marketing, branding is not my strong suit, then the place I'm allocating money is bringing in the team who can do the rebrand, who can do the marketing, who can do the messaging that's going to get us to that goal. Because that is what I have determined as the CEO is the thing that's going to make us the money, right? That's my job. My job is to make the decision of what needs to be done to bring in the revenue, create the strategy, trust that I'm correct in my strategy, and then allocate the resources to getting the dream team in place to reach that goal. That is my number one job as CEO. Put the right people in the right places to deliver the outcome that I see as important for the company's success. So I'm asking you, as the CEO of your company, Are you doing that? Or are you still trying to do every single thing yourself, even when you know you're not the best person for the job? Then there's the external piece. The CEO's job is to be the face of the company to the people who matter most, your key clients, the major partners, the industry at large. If there's a press conference, the CEO is probably going to, maybe the CMO, the chief marketing officer, right? But the CEO is going to be face to the world. They're setting that tone with the public. The CEO is holding the relationships that cannot be delegated because they are all about the company's credibility. If we have the biggest client, the one who's paying the most money, the one who's the most invested in the business, they want FaceTime with that CEO. They want to spend time talking to that person. Our biggest partners, they want to talk to who's in charge. If there is a big announcement about the direction of the company being made, that CEO is usually going to put their face out there. And that is part of the idea that the CEO owns the success or failure. It's actually your face out there. You're the one showing up. Big announcements coming out of a company where the CEO shows their face online and they say, this is what we're doing. This is where we're going. This is the new direction of this company. That really puts that CEO's credibility on the line. And if those initiatives don't get met, if those revenue goals don't get met, then that CEO might not last at that company. They might get replaced and they know it. It's their face on the line. Underneath all of this is the question of company culture. What does it feel like to work here? What does it feel like to be a client here and interact with this business? The CEO is setting that tone, and they're setting it whether they mean to or not. So sometimes CEOs are removed because the company culture that they're creating is one that's stressful. Like, we have high turnover. Nobody wants to work here. We're hemorrhaging money at the leadership level because the CEO is a nightmare and they're changing their mind all the time and they're stressing people out and their leadership isn't trustworthy. We need somebody in here who gives grounded, solid leadership, who is positive, who is encouraging, who makes this a great place to work. And your company culture is still a company culture, even if you are a company of one. Are you making your company culture miserable through the way that you talk to yourself, by not holding your time boundaries, by stressing yourself out, by changing your mind all the time? What does it feel like to work at your business? So when you put this all together, the CEO is the person who owns the whole game, not just a piece of it. They own the whole thing. They own the revenue, the strategy, the direction, the team, the people, the reputation, the culture, all of it lives with them. All of it is what they're accountable for. So here's the question I want you to be sitting with. First of all, does your company have a CEO right now? Is somebody doing that job? And if it's not you, would you hire you for that job, right? Not the founder. You're the founder automatically. You're the person who started it and knows it the best. But the CEO, the person who's responsible for those things, would you hire you for that job right now? And if not, two things. One is that you might want to hire a fractional CEO. That is something that I do for a small number of companies. It is not cheap. It's between $5,000 and $10,000 a month to have me as your fractional CEO. But if you are in a place where you're like, I actually don't want to be the CEO of my company, I want to be the talent. We're making good money. We're making multiple six figures a year, but we're not scaling. And I don't want to spend more time in the CEO seat. I want to spend all my time in the doer seat. I want to spend all my time doing the thing I'm good at, but the company still needs a CEO. Hire one. If you'd like to hire me, shoot me an email, intuitiveedgecoaching@gmail.com, subject line fractional CEO, open up the conversation and let's have it. That is something I do for other people's companies. So you can fully hire a CEO. If you're not in that place yet, your company still needs one. And so I want to offer you some questions that will allow you to start making the shift into taking on this job description if you have never had this job before and you've never given it to yourself. So I'm going to give you some questions. I would love for you to journal on them, write them down. If you're driving, come back to this later and write these questions down. So the first one is, do you have a strategy or are you just doing stuff? Are you clear on what your main goals are for this year? And if they are amorphous, a lot of people are like, yeah, my goal for this year is to hit 500,000 in sales. Great. Do you actually have a plan for that? Do you have a step by step, quarter by quarter, month by month, week by week plan for how you're going to make that happen? Or is it just this is what I would like to see happen? Because those are two different things. It's great to have a target, but you know what they say, a goal without a plan is just a wish. Do you have a strategy or just a full calendar? Are you just busy? The next is, if you tracked your hours, where is your time actually going? If you broke down your week, how much time are you spending doing what? And get really meticulous with it. I'm spending this many hours doing my service, making my products, actually delivering to clients. I'm spending this much time creating marketing. I'm spending this much time answering emails, this much time doing billing, this much time panicking on the couch. Where's your time going? Looking at that, what are you doing that someone you were paying $15 to $25 an hour could do? And why are you still doing it? Especially if it's a job you're not good at and or that you hate. Are you investing in your business? If you got sick for a month, what happens to your business? Are you building something or are you the thing? That is a really important question. Are you building something or are you the thing? A lot of us are trading time for money. Our body is the service. If I'm not present in the room, there is no money. It's still just hustle. It's still just freelancing. It is not the same as building a machine that makes money for you. And that's what a business is. A business is a machine that makes money for you. What in your business runs without you? And if the answer is nothing, what does that tell you? Next question. Are you waiting on referrals or someone to just find you through the algorithm, someone to just visit your website and hit you up? Or are you building or have you built a system that continually generates demands and continually brings qualified leads to your doorstep? Do you know why you get clients, why you win clients, why people say yes to you? Do you actually know what creates your yeses, or are you guessing? Do you know why you lose clients? Why people don't come back? Have you looked at your pricing recently with kind of fresh eyes? Or are you still just charging what you charged 3 years ago because that's the price you set and changing it doesn't feel approachable to you? If your revenue is not what you want it to be right now, are you diagnosing it like a CEO? Or are you just trying to work harder doing the same things and hoping things turn around? And then finally, are you avoiding the CEO role because being the doer feels safer or more familiar? Have you been out of the CEO role because you didn't even know what that job entailed? And listening to this makes you go, oh, that's why things aren't moving. No one is doing this job. What would change about how you spent your days, specifically your Mondays, since this is dropping on a Monday? What would change about how you spent your Mondays if you put yourself in the CEO job at least a few hours a week and took that job description and that job role seriously? So I hope that these questions were valuable for you. I always love hearing from you. I love it when y'all email me. So you can email me personally, intuitiveedgecoaching@gmail.com. That's my personal email. If you want to tell me the answers to these questions, any ahas you had from thinking about this, I would love to hear them. And I want to leave you with something. So for most solopreneurs, most service providers, most people who started their business because they're good at a thing, they are not currently being the CEO of their company. And it's not because they're not smart and it's not because they're not talented, but they've never really taken on that job. They've either never sat down and found out, like, what should I be doing as CEO? And they've never been like, I'm taking this role on and I'm taking this seriously. I'm not hustling like a freelancer anymore. I'm sitting in the CEO seat and I'm building a company. So if you've been in the role of founder, creator, the person who makes magic happen, and you never sat down and said, okay, now here's what the CEO role actually requires of me, and I'm committing to it. This is the breakdown that I see the most often in my business. This is the place where brilliant, creative, talented founders hit a wall that they can't hustle their way through. It's strategy and executing their strategy. It's never about ideas. Like, the ideas are never the problem. I'm used to working with like creative, ADHD, brilliant people who have mile a minute ideas. Their problem is usually that they have too many ideas that distract them and they're not holding that decision piece where they're sticking to a strategy. They fall down on infrastructure to actually execute their ideas in a way that compounds instead of just constantly scrambling around doing stuff. So I have a workshop that I would love for you to grab. It's called Why Your Creative Business Isn't Scaling Even Though You're Brilliant. And I want you to go grab it if you've related to this and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm not in my CEO bag at all. In this workshop, I break down the 3 specific patterns that keep creative founders from being able to fully step into the CEO role of their business. And I see these patterns all the time. I recognize them immediately. They are the thing that almost always is standing between having a business that runs on your energy and your hustle versus having a business that can run without you. Having a business where you have high revenue with low stress, with not a ton of hours in your work week, with the ability to take summers off and have your business keep running. The workshop is $27. It is one of the best $27 you could possibly spend in your business this year. It is not fluffy. I put real numbers on what these patterns cost you in your business and give you a way out of them. So if you were listening to all of this and you were feeling that little uncomfortable pang of recognition, like, yeah, I am totally in the doer mode, but I'm not really doing my CEO thing, then this workshop was made for you and I want you to go grab it. So just go to intuitiveedgecoaching.com/scaling, SCALING, intuitiveedgecoaching.com/scaling. Grab that workshop for $27. It's also going to be linked in the show notes. It's 45 minutes or something. It's not even that long. There's a worksheet that you can work through, and it is going to help you see exactly where you've been stuck in your doer and what needs to shift so that you can sit more comfortably in that CEO seat. So again, go grab it, intuitiveedgecoaching.com/scaling. I can't wait for you to have that. And I would love to hear your feedback on this episode. Reach out to me anytime. That's all I've got for you today. Hope that this was valuable. Okay, love you. Bye.
That's our episode for today. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. I know there are so many things that you could be doing with your day, so many things you could be listening to, and it means so much that you are here in this community. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment, share it on social media, and tag me at Intuitive Edge Coaching. Share it with a biz bestie who you think needs to hear it and will appreciate it. And take a moment to like, to subscribe, and to leave a 5-star review wherever you are listening. It helps me grow this show and it helps us grow and sustain this brilliant community of entrepreneurs dedicated to doing the inner work. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, love you. Bye.